Dr. Jayantilal Jain, a very senior scholar, and I will say a scholar par excellence. More than that, he's an inspirer, motivator, and who knows things as they are, and who informs and teaches and uh, motivates people to learn more. And I'm his student. I take pride in saying that I'm one of his students and learned from him for almost 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know, on and off. And Sir teaches the philosophy coded in the works of Kunda Kunda and all other great acharyas very beautifully. And it is from him that we have learned so many good things, so many papers related to our department studies. And Sir is also an alumni of the department. He's a PhD, and you all have studied his thesis, Pure Soul and its Infinite Treasure, and the books translated by him, rendered by him, the essence of Sarlekhna, the essence of Samay Sar, Pravachan Sar, Niyam Sar. So I'm thankful to him for having accepted our invitation to deliver this talk related to your logic paper, the 363 divisions of Mithyatva, which we often hear, 363 Pakhandi Mat, but we seldom go into the details of it. So, on the other side, sir, I would like to inform, sir, we have the students of the second years, the first years, the alumni, and some students from the Prakrit background and some students from the Parmagam background. So, the lecture will be recorded and it will be, uh, visited again and again by all those who want to know more about the topic. So without wasting much time, we'll have the talk up to 8:15. By 8:15, sir would like to detach. So you'll all listen to him and then we'll have a very brief interaction as sir would tell us. So you all can have your notes with you and note down the details that sir will roll down for us. Over to sir for the lecture, special lecture on 363 divisions of Mithyat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Priyadarshana. It's a pleasure to talk to university students once again. And on a topic which is of course, very important to everybody, because even the slightest part of Mithyatva is dangerous in the sense that it may not lead to moksha marg. And hence I start with a prayer or whatever you call from the second verse of Samasa. And what is stated here is what is Samay. And Jivo Charit Dansana Nanakh. One who is a Mithya Drishti, who have a false belief about the things, about the self and about others. While Swasama is one who has interest in the self and knows, so karmic material and all those things are Parsama. Why I took this one? Because this particular verse divides all souls in the universe into two categories. One Swasama and the other Parsama, all souls in the universe. That is, those who are interested in the self and those who are not interested in the self. Those who are interested in the soul and those who are not interested in the soul. So with that distinction, that how all the souls in the universe are categorized by Kundacharya. It's a very popular word afterwards, and it goes on the same way. Now, if you look at some of the expressions on this false faith, so in Gomutsar, from where which are relying a lot for this today's talk, it says that all statements in words are viewpoints. Whatever we say, it is a viewpoint. And many of these are only false viewpoints. So most of us, whatever we say, we do not specify the angle from which we are saying, the naya from which we are saying that particular point, and hence it may be misunderstood by everybody. And that's what Gomarsar Karmakant says. And in the same ways, in Jayantilal also, all nayas, when treated as absolutes, are false. Whatever statement that is made, if it is understood in absolute sense, then it is false. And when it is interpreted as a relative to opposite view in terms of Shadvat, then it becomes a right thing. Another thing in Udesh Siddhant Ratnamala, it says like that, to praise persons with false faith is to praise prostitutes known for their misconduct. So that's to that extent, Nemi Chandra Bhandari has compared this false faith. In just 2-3 minutes or first 5 minutes, I will talk about the importance of this, and then we'll shift to this thing. Don't think that diverting this subject or nothing like that. This false faith, what it is rarely, and how so dangerous it is for all of us if we harbor any of such feelings. So this says that it is to praise persons with false faith is to praise prostitutes known for their conduct. Similarly, in Amokshamar Prakashak, Todamalji said that Mithyatva is the great. And another thing is better to be beaten by a snake than by false faith. So false faith is very dangerous, and it is better that we understand to the extent possible. In Samyasar again, it says that Anumatra bhi ragadi ka sadbhav ho जिस जीव के वह सर्व आगम धर भले हो जानता नहीं आत्म को. Even if you read and remember thousands of scriptures, but you have not removed from your belief a false faith or false belief, then it is of no use. It will not lead to moksha. No use means it will not lead to moksha. And all that we do and learn all those things in dharma is to attain ultimately the goal of moksha. So that's how it is better to be beaten by a snake than by the mithyatva. Now, something about its origin or how it arises, we can just say some few points that are needed as a background for understanding this 363. So all these things are known to you, but I will just
सर आवाज बहुत कम है
doesn't
सर.
know well about tattvas,
Sir,
maybe
your
knowing in
voice
a
is,
very
excuse me, sir, your voice is
Oh.
very low, sir.
how is it? This the
वो
usual way
impact
I
जा
do it.
रहा
I
है
don't
सर.
know. And
वो impact जा रहा है सर, वो voice low होने के कारण कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
oh, is it? अच्छा, अच्छा. Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Yes, sir.
हाँ
Okay.
सर.
This is better?
Little better, sir.
Yes, sir, this is
Okay.
better, sir.
All right. So, one who has a false faith, he doesn't know substances. He may be knowing the names, but not knowing the intent of it, contents of it. And in the same way about all tattvas, 9 tattvas or 7, whatever we classify, he has no understanding. And that's why he will not be able to understand. And these all constitute the false faith. Similarly, no belief in any kantvad, or even if he has heard the word, he doesn't know what it is really. And he has not properly understood that thing. And similarly, this sevenfold description, Saptabhangi, as we call it, Asti, Nasti, Avekta, etc., for understanding these 363, how they have come or how they are derived, some understanding of this is very initially, at least a basic understanding of Saptabhangi. Then, of course, Darshan Muni karma, which leads to deluding karmas, and that's what leads to wrong faith. And wrong faith or false faith is basically due to rise of Darshan Muni karma. And some, of course, this 9 semi-patients, no kashaya or no karma, whatever it is. And no kashaya particular, not no karma, no kashayas, 9 semi-patients. And then, of course, Vipreet Abhinivesh, interpreting whatever is taught is not understood in the proper sense. And then, of course, one basic principles we have to understand that several factors cause things to happen and not one. So if we think that anything that has happened, it is due to only one factor, then it is not the proper way of understanding, because events takes place because of so many reasons, so many factors. Of course, these 2 types of false faith are very popular, and of course, all of you must be knowing about it. And that is Grahit Mithyatva and Agrahit Mithyatva. So Agrahit Mithyatva is, of course, what is inherited from past karmas or because of ignorance and so on, that body and soul are the same. This is something that we know from infinite times in the past, because all in births we know that body, or we understand that body and the soul are the same thing. And somebody who believes that what is seen and not what is unseen. So to really have a false faith, we have to learn the art of knowing what is not seen, okay? Visualizing what is unseen, which is not visible to our eyes and like that. So if you believe that, yes, I believe only in what I see with my eyes, then it is maybe difficult. He remains Mithyadrishti. And then, of course, Pudgal properties of Sparshras, Gandhavan, etc. One has to be very careful. And then, of course, great is one that we learn in this life, that these are very basic concepts. I just mentioned it because in case it has to be recapitulated, we need not do it. So to start with, we talk about it. Then some basic concepts that are needed for understanding 363 hours. These are different views here, just mentioned for the sake of reference here. That one who is a Kalvadi, who believes that everything will be solved by time, or time determines everything. So that is known as Kalvadi, then he will not be able to understand, or he is a Mithyadrishti. If you believe in only one factor, that one factor causes things to happen, then it remains Mithyadrishti. And similarly, if one is Ishwaravadi, believe that everything is determined by supreme power or God, births, deaths, everything, whether I'm happy or unhappy, everything is decided by God, that Ishwaravadi feeling, that is also a part of a basic Mithyadarshan. And then Atmavadi, that soul is everything, means God, creator, everything is the same as soul and identified with the creator and like that. So that's one of the views. Another view is in terms of Niyativat, that whatever is destined to happen, that will happen. And so if one believes in that, then it remains a part of Mithyadarshan. And then Swabhav means one believes that everything happens due to nature of its substance and nothing else. Then also it is not possible to have a right view, because it is the combination of certain factors, 5 samvaya as we call it, that leads to things to happen. And then, of course, one group that believes that Purushvat, that whatever human efforts we make, because of our efforts only things happen, and not. These are some of the views. When we multiply to 300, this and Kriyavadi and Purushvad, they can merge and seen later on. Now we'll start about this, some background that we talked about, and now we'll talk about the happenings of 363 views. So how do we know that it becomes 363? He was told that it is 363. So if that question comes, then we have to really say that it has been taught by Mahavir, or it is taught by Arantas, that it is
Sir, we are not able to hear you.
point that it has come from Mahavir, etc., Arant and so on. It is not a new concept, or not only given by Mahavir, it is an eternal concept, because if it is a part of Dvadasham, then it is the eternal way in which people have misconceptions about themselves, about the soul, and about the things around. So it is a part of Dvadasham Vani. So there are 5 parts, out of which this belongs to the second part, which is called as sutra. So remember, it has to be taken seriously, because it is what Arant or the omniscient have taught. Okay, it is what all Tirthankaras have taught. It is part of 12-fold literature, Dvadasham Jinvani. So that means that it is known by, it is taught by, or whatever, Gandharas, and then Acharyas and Upadhyas and Sadhus. They have all taught these things, that be aware of these things and remain aloof from these things. And if at all any iota of such feelings is there within us, let it be eliminated. That's what the whole concept is. So 363 is just a counting, okay? But the basic thing is that any smallest belief of that type, which constitutes part of this sutras, or by what is known as this Mithyatva, that has to be got ridden off if we really are interested in the path to moksha. Samyak darshan Gyan Charitrani, as we call it, as the path to moksha, so that Samyak darshan can take place only if Mithyatva is removed. So that's how it all becomes a very part of our Jain literature. And it is not I just wanted to say that it's not a product of something. It is not a reaction to what are the other philosophies, because sometimes we say that, okay, one particular thought, it is against Buddhist philosophy, or it is against whatever Sankhya Mat, or so many things, Upanishad and like that, Charvak, and so many 6 things that we generally counted like that. And so many beliefs that we have in this world prevailing. So it's not as a reaction to them, because sometimes it is interpreted that it is to eliminate those kind of beliefs. Yes, we can say so. But the thought itself is eternal. Just as Aryantanam's, the Namokar mantra is eternal, in the same way, this is eternal. Just as Samyak Darshan Gyan Charitra are eternal concepts, in the same way, this false view is very eternal. Actually, sometimes it is said that it is Mahavir, as a Marichi also, he started, or he believed one of these kind of Mithyatva things, and he propagated these kind of things. Sometimes it is said like that. And hence, so this is something very unique in Jain philosophy. One, it is taught by Arantas, it is taught by Tirthankaras, and it is something that we all should know. It is not difficult to understand, it's very easy. At the end of the talk, you will realize that it is so simple. It is not difficult at all. And hence, and many of the things we know already. So about the origin of this particular concept, please remember that it has come from those Tirthankaras, and it is eternal concept. It is eternal misbelief that people have. Okay. And that's how one has to get rid of it and understand it very well. So the importance of whole thing comes in this one particular sentence, that it's a part of Dvadashangvani. particularly of Drishtiva, and it is part of the sutras and so on. Now we come to our 363 views and like that. So basically how they are classified, there is one point common to all the 363 views, is that they believe one thing exclusively. They believe that factor as a factor that determines everything that is happening in life and things that are around us. And not only this life, but it is determining the
Sir, you're not audible.
What happened?
yeah, just some connection problem. Okay, we'll get back to sharing. Right. So if one who believes in Ekantavad, that is one factor that decides all the things in the universe and everything that happens, then it is a part of that. This point is common to all the 363. And even if it is more than 363, then this point is all common to any Mithyadrishti. Then this 363 comes like this, okay? That those who believe in Kriyavadi, action orientation, that only through action, only through human action or whatever, action things happen, believes in only one. That is Kriya, means action. Through action only we can do the things in life, or we can understand things that are happening around us. And this is divided into 180. So out of 363, 180 comes from this type. How that comes, we will see in the other slides. So Kriyavadi, that is those who believe exclusively that only action can, only Purusharth, only our efforts, only human efforts will lead to things to happen. So that group is known as Kriyavadi. This Kriyavadi has 180 types. And Akriyavadi, those who they do not believe in action. Okay, things are happening with the passage of time or something like that. So we need not do anything. Or happen through destiny. So we need not do anything. There is no need to do anything. Things will take place as destined, or whatever our destiny is, bhagya jo hai, that will lead to the results, and we need not do any efforts. This is just the opposite of Kriyavadi. Kriyavadi think that everything comes through action, and these people think that there is no need to do any action. Things will happen automatically. And so that's known as Akriyavadi, non-action orientation of belief, and one-side belief. Then third is Agyanvadi, ignorance orientation. They have no understanding of what is soul. They have no understanding of what is Pudgal or what is inanimate things. They have no understanding of six substances and how the working of six substances is there in the universe, how they are independent. Such understanding is lacking. They do not have such understanding. So that groups comes to 67. And then Vanik means respect orientation. You respect everything. Vinay is everything. And so you respect everybody. Whatever is there, you respect. And you respect a stone, you respect a tree, you respect everybody. Father, mother. There are 8 types which we'll see later on. So they believe in respecting, and that respect itself will lead to elimination of Mithyadarshan. So that is only one type of belief. Nobody says that we should not respect. We do respect in life, but then it has to be with a purpose and with a better understanding of what it is. So respect orientation, that has a 32 types. So the division of 363 views comes as 180 Kriyavadi, then 84 Akriyavadi, then 67 ignorance orientation, and then Vainik respect orientation 32. So this is how this all makes a group of 363. And towards the end again, we'll see that there can be more also. So now we start further. Now we'll come to Kriyavadi, that is those who believe in action only, that only action or Purusharth will take place. And we saw that they are of 180 types. How these 180 comes, that's what we'll just see now. One is Asti. As I said, Saptabhangi is very important because whether the things exist or not, whatever exists, we have to believe as it exists. Sat. Sat means it exists. Okay. It has an existence. At means with Astitva, surplus with whatever. So Asti has an existence. So whatever is existence, one must realize. Whatever does not exist, we need not talk. So 6 substances exist, soul exists, and that's why we should know about what is existing and what is not existing. If we believe in something which is not existing, then it becomes a part of mithya belief, false belief. So first point that is to be understood is Astitva. Asti as a property also, or Asti as a part of the Saptavangi. So first is existence. Now, this existence can be broadly of 2 types. We said Swasama and Parsama. That's what I started with. Samasar is the second verse. That existence is of the self, soul, and there is the existence of others. So it is divided into 2 groups, self and the others. Then third group is in existence, whether the existence is nitya, eternal, or whether the existence is momentary, anitya. So these are the 4 important points. Existence has to be viewed in terms of the self, whether self exists, soul exists or not. Second point, whether other things other than the soul, parsama, whether they exist or not. And then one has to believe actually in existence of all the 4. Okay. So also exist, non-self, that is other substances also exist. Then all substances are eternal, so they are nitya. All substances, all the 6 of them, swa as well as non-self, they all have an eternal existence, and they have a paryaya also, so they are anitya. They are changing every moment, and so there is a momentary change in all these substances. So no substance remains eternally the same, and hence these 4 characteristics of the existence becomes important. So we have seen 1 into 4 now, 4 these properties and with reference to existence. So this becomes a 4 points. Then we see, as we discussed in the first slide itself, that person should have knowledge of these tattvas, 9 tattvas. Why? Because they exist. Jeev exists, no? Jeev tattva exists, Ajeev exists, as we saw in the then it is
What happened? क्या हुआ सर?
may wait, just 1 second. Fluctuations in the internet.
आवाज भी थोड़ी सी वॉल्यूम करिए ना सर.
मैंने तो मैक्सिमम पर रखा मैडम.
अच्छा अच्छा, नहीं तो आप माइक के पास बोलिएगा सर.
हाँ, माइक के पास.
हमें बहुत स्ट्रेस करना पड़ रहा है सुनने के
अच्छा
लिए.
अच्छा, आई विल ट्राई. So this is about existence, what we were talking about. So one is existence, asti, and then existence of characteristics, these four: existence of the self, existence of other substances, that they are eternally existence, and then there is a momentary existence. So this 1 into 4, that becomes four parts of 363. And then, as I was discussing just now, that 9 tattvas, we have to believe in each of the tattvas, okay? That there is a jiva, then there is a jiva, then there is what we all know, asra. No, karmas are there, the influx is there, and similarly the bondage is there. Similarly, it is possible to have prevention, which we call as samvar, and it is possible to have nirjara and moksha, and of course asra divided into punya and papa. So, as I was saying, that one has to believe that there is a moksha. If someone doesn't believe that there is a moksha, then is a mithyadrishti, because it exists. It has been taught by Arant that way. In the same way, one has to believe that it is possible to shed karmas, okay, samvara and nirjara. One has to believe that. And before that, one has to believe that karmic bondage is there. So if the bondage is there, then only it is to be new bondage to prevent it, and old bondage through nirjara, it has to go away completely. So all these 9 tattvas one has to believe. Otherwise, somebody said that I believe in the soul, but I don't believe in this nirjara and all those things. Then it is a part of mithyatva. So any of those things that is out of it, 363 are counted, because none of these 363 can be ignored. Okay, each one of them has to be completely to have a faith in it, complete faith in it. Then only it is possible to have really samyak darshan. Tattva Shraddhanam samyak darshan, as we call it. Same way it is here. Okay, so these 9 tattvas, and then there is a 5 samvaya type of things. That one is a kal. Time is important. Whatever things happen in life, or it happens through certain combinations, that at that time, and then Ishwar, that is, of course, God is there. That type of samvaya is also there. And then Atma is there. Then Niyati is there, destiny, and then Sabha. So Ishwar means some nimitta is there, something like that, through karmas. Niyati also can be discussed in terms of karmas and other things. So anyway, these 5 factors together decide, or they contribute externally. That is, whatever thing is happening to self and others, it is through time that they can be explained. Similarly, they exist, so that existence or whatever, they have a divine nature or whatever, or the karmas are there, and like that it is explained. Okay. And then, of course, there is a soul, because if soul is not there, then binding takes place to whom? Nothing. So whenever some karmic bondage or whatever events happen in life, those events have these 5 types of samvayas. And niyati, of course, destiny. And swabha means it is natural for certain things to happen. And so somebody believes in swabha, somebody believes in destiny, somebody believes in Atma, somebody believes in time as a factor, and somebody depends on the God as a factor to which decides, which we call nimitta or karmas, like that. So these are 9 plus 5. Okay, 9 plus 4. 4 are clear. Then these 9, so that becomes 36. And then, of course, 36 multiplied by 5. So it becomes 180. Actually, each of these has to be understood very well, and we can write each one of them also. For a practice, we can do that. But otherwise, it is very clear here. And all of you are very senior people, so you can understand and multiply it in terms of thought processes, so that none of the belief is shaken. Okay, that we believe in whatever is stated here, and not believing only one single factor. So this 180 out of 363 comes through this kind of explanation. So the first part we complete. now we go to the second part of this one, and that is non-existence. What we saw just now was asti in terms of existence, and what we are going to discuss now, 84 types in terms of nasti, non-existence. So non-existence of what? That one who believes in non-existence of the self and non-existence on others. That can be a feeling of non-existence. And so that becomes two categories as earlier in the earlier slide. And of course, 7 tattvas here are, it excludes punya and pap, because if you don't believe in other things, ashram itself, then where is the question of description in terms of punya and pap? And hence, in this calculation, generally 7 things are calculated. Because there are no good acts and no bad acts. And so, and pap is not counted here. So 2 into 7, it becomes 17, 14, sorry, 2 into 7 becomes 40. So self and each tattva has to be meshed. And in the same way, others and each tattva has to be met. And then the 2 types, self and others, so that it becomes a 40. Now, the akriyavadi who do not believe in doing anything, they don't believe in samvayas, they don't believe in things to happen, they don't believe in multiple factors, they don't believe in sharva, they don't believe in anything, just things, let it happen. That type of khao piyo moj karo, something like that. Eat, drink and be merry, and things will take place automatically. Like it happens, sometimes some functions are there. There will be some people who will not do any work, they will sit and just watch. But things will keep on happening because the momentum has started. So it has to be completed. So like that, some people think that things will take place without our action, and hence they believe in this type of existence. And so the 7 and 2 we have discussed. Then those 5 factors that we discussed earlier in terms of time, in terms of whatever karmas, or call it Ishwar, whatever, then soul, then niyati, destiny, and svabhav, nature. So earlier 7 into 14, 14 were there, and then 5. So 14 into 5, that becomes 70 here. So 70 types are enumerated here in terms of akriyavadi, non-action oriented belief. And then, of course, in terms of nasti, there is another type of argument, and that is say that this is non-existence of nasti in general terms, okay? Then this is nasti, non-existence of ajiv, about, these were about jiv, sorry. The first part was about jiv. Now this second part of nasti is about ajiv, non-self, non-soul matter. So that does not, first, soul does not exist. Second, the soul does, ajiv does not exist. Non-soul matter does not exist. So if that kind of a belief is there, then that also again gets multiplied by, so if ajiv, of course, there will be no tattvas there. And similarly, these 5 factors are not important. There are only 2 factors, time and niyati. Because other 3 factors like Ishwar and like that, there are no karmas, nothing like that. So nimitta type of things. So this has no role to play. Similarly, soul does not exist. So soul has also no role to play. Svabhav also is not believed to happen there. And so only niyati is there, that, okay, the things will happen as per the destiny. So these 2 types are there. So 7 into 2 into 7 into 2, that becomes 14. So 14 types of this belief and 70 of this, the total becomes 70 plus 14. So it becomes 84. So 84 types of beliefs comes here. Earlier we discussed 180 and then this 84. So 2 together again, we look at the further happenings. Now, when we come to the third category, which is Vedic was last. Okay. Vedic, they believe in respect. Okay, so they will believe in respecting anything and everything. Okay, so the majority 8 types have been categorized here. Respect to all 8 categories of people without examining their merit. Okay, merit and demerits are not examined, but just respect them. Why do we look at merits and demerits? It is not our job. These are the 8 categories of people who have to be respected. And when this kind of feeling is there, that is known as Vanikva. So what are those 8 categories? Main thing is we respect with merit. No, after knowing that there is a merit in the person or the whatever the 8 things, then we respect them. But here they respect irrespective of knowing that whether there is a merit or demerit in those people. Okay. Respect scholars, then yati monks, and then old people respect, then child also, young people, child, we should respect, and mother and father. So these 8 categories, they respect without knowing the merits and demerits of the people involved. And so blind respect, in other words, that if you respect based on merit and like that, there is a conscious feeling that yes, the person has to be respected because of such and such quality. But when those qualities are forgotten, then of course respecting them becomes a kind of a mithya part, that you do not know whether they have the merit or not. But just because it is mentioned that these 8 categories are to be respected, they do their respect. One with a samyak darshan, or one who is having discretion, or one who have a right faith, he will also respect all these categories. Not that he will not respect, but he will respect on based on the merit, and he knows why he is respecting them. So that kind of a conscious thoughts are there in case of a right belief, but in case of a wrong belief, without looking into the merits, one respect all these people, and hence uh, these 2 categories. One is 8 categories of respect. Now they respect them in 4 different ways. In mind, no, mind also they get involved in respecting them. Through words also they respect them, and through body language also, through body some action, holding hands or whatever, kneeling down, they respect them, and by some offerings or by donations or any type of help. If it's God and like that, they do some offerings and like that. King and other people, they either donate money or give something, some gifts or whatever. Yati, etc., they offer some food and things like that. So irrespective of knowing the quality of a monk, you offer food or other things or some gifts. That's a mithya, part of mithya, like that. Without knowing the qualities of these 8 categories, through mind, through words, or through body action, or through some offerings or some help or donation or money, or any sort of help to these categories, without knowing the merits in those ones, then it becomes a part of false belief, and hence this 8 into 4, that becomes a 32. So remember, all of you are very senior people, but what I wanted to say is that these are not to be ignored just like that, because any misbelief of the type or doing or respecting them out of whatever courtesy or out of social requirements, without knowing the things, it becomes very difficult. And suppose one is not getting involved, but then otherwise, without knowing the qualities and like that, but then he has to get involved. Okay, so we'll body also he will respect them by so these kind of respect without applying mind, without using discretion, and without knowing the merits and demerits, that becomes a kind of a misbelief. That is respecting them, but without knowing it's a blind belief kind of a thing. So that also becomes a part of these things. So (180) we have done, then this 84, then 32. Okay, these 363 are enumerated, but there are innumerable types as much as the units of space and occupied in the universe. So it's such a big number. 363 is a very small number. Here the reference is to innumerable types of it. How many innumerables? So as many units as the units in the space, occupied universe. लोक में जितना प्रदेश है असंख्यात. In the same way, this can be asankhyaat types of beliefs. What we have done is only counting few of them. So let us not be confined to only these type of things. There are more than this. And then as many nayas, perspective नए जितने भी हैं, that is the number of false faith. So whatever expressions we have, if we don't have the right intention after saying those things, then it becomes a part of karmic bondage. And so, and bondage of Mithyatva. The other karmic bondage are so many types, eight of them, as you all know. And due to rise of Moni karma, there is a bondage of Mithyatva. So, if the perspective is not clear, if the intention is not clear, if the abhipraya, as we call it, is not proper, then it leads to karmic bondage, and that's of a false faith. Okay? And that false faith goes on for years and years, okay? Infinite times. Some points about these things, for few examples, that those who believe that, of course, Purusharth is only works, or those who believe that only destiny, luck works, fortunes, or Sanyogavad, several factors work together, like wheels in a train or other vehicles, and Lokvad. These are all different types of false faith. Some we have counted already, but there is one verse in Gomatsa like that, so I just wrote it again, few things, that as many nayas, so nayas can be on all these things, and perspectives can be on all those things, and that's why there can be false belief that, because as we just discussed about binding of karmas, so infinitely binding kashaya that goes with false faith, anantanubandhi kashaya,
Not hearing.
infinitely binding anantanubandhi kashaya that goes with the mithyatva, which leads to infinite births and deaths. So why do we need to discuss this? Why do we need to take this concept very seriously? Because if we fail in believing as per these concepts, or as per the concept of 363 and more of them, then it will lead to infinite bondage. And that means that we'll be ever condemned to be in this sansar, dravya, kshetra, kal, bhav, and so many. You can explain in details and like that. We would have studied also, but just I'm indicating that the study of 363 becomes so important,
because otherwise it lead to infinite births and deaths, which in one word, if you call it Anantanubandhi Kashaya, and with Anantanubandhi Kashaya that goes Mithyatva. So that is one point, which is in itself is a very big point, but just indicated here so that the importance of this is realized. Second thing is that any acts against a law as punishable, against social norms and against the faith, they also becomes part of Mithyatva. That if we act in our daily life also against the rules of the government, then it leads to kind of a kashaya. It's creating a kashaya. So that leads to a false faith only. Similarly, against social norms, we should not act against social norms because that also leads to karmic bondage, Anantanubandhi type, because we are revolting against a system. What for? There is a social system, and so one has to obey those systems, respect them, as we call it, as one of the types. So if it is not done, and same thing, not respecting the dharma also, or acting against the faith, against the dharma, that also becomes a kind of a false faith. Here dharma means Jain philosophy only, because others are only false as per the concept. Or there are different beliefs which does not fall in the right faith, it falls into the false faith. Then, of course, the movement in four modes, as you all know, Chargati, which is Sansar. So transmigration of 5 types, Dravya, Kshetra, Kal, Bhav, and Bhav. All those type of transmigration will take place eternally and will be condemned to live in this Sansar for a very long time or forever. So these are the very serious consequences. And hence, one has to really take note of these kind of false belief. And in our life or in our system of thought, if any of these type of things are there, sorry, this thing is again and again disturbing today. Right. So this serious consequences are very serious if we do not eliminate this thing or we take this 363 very lightly. Because if we take 363, that will basically put us on the right path. And other things also a part of permutation combinations, if there are anything more, one will be able to take care of himself. So that becomes very important. So transmigration will take place. Ananta, Dravya, Kal, Bhav, and we know that these are, each of that itself is infinity. To complete one cycle of Dravya, one cycle of Kshetra, one cycle of Kal, Bhav and Bhav, that itself leads to infinite lives. So the concept becomes, although simple, becomes very important. Again, it becomes more important because without right faith, the following things do not lead to any result or moksha. That is, no matter how many woes you observe, okay, without the right faith, they are not going to yield any results. You may do hundreds of fastings or whatever. You all know what type of fasts. All types of 5 types of woes, basically. 5 paps among the 5 vratas and whatever mahavratas. All those vows are not going to help you or help anybody to lead to any result because they will be nothing. They will not be, the main thing is to break the ice in terms of false faith. Okay? And if that mountainous, that is not broken, and one may go on doing these kind of things, it is not good. This is quoted from some scriptures only. So it's not of my own. I'm using some statement from some scripture only. So all those woes will not be of use. Then Diksha. You have false faith and you take Diksha, then you are not having a Samyak Darshan, then whatever Diksha you take, that is not going to help. So it becomes very serious. We may spend the whole life in obeying certain vows or following some vratas and Diksha also, and yet it may not lead to any kind of a basic result. Basic results means a breakthrough in the existence of our transmigration of our existence. Breakthrough in terms of Samyak Darshan, so that our seat to moksha is reserved, or we may be able to go to moksha very soon in few lives. That kind of things will not take place, and it leads to infinite births like that, as we mentioned earlier. Then similarly, Diksha, Samayik, you may go on doing Samayik, but it will not yield any results. Same thing, Pratikaman, all those concepts, no matter how much or how many Pratikaman you do, it does not yield anything. Then Sanyam, you may have a control of senses and like that, but those senses of no use, because basically you are not breaking that Mithyatva, which is the root cause of our transmigration of life. Same thing, recitation of scriptures, no matter how many times you recite Namakar mantra or so on, unless the Mithyatva is gone, then it is of no use. Same thing, Tirthayatra and Vaiyavrat, Bhakti, and offerings, donations, dan, and so on. These are few of the things I've written here. And like that, the list can be added. But these 10 are mentioned in one of the verses. So that's why I mentioned about it, that it is not going to help. So it is a very serious subject. Well, it looks very trivial, but then it becomes very severe or serious if we really don't follow it. Then further, if you look in terms of Gunstan and like that, the one person who is having false faith, it remains in Gunstan 1. Then mode of existence, it can happen in all 4 Charo Gatiyon mein, it will be there. Then all the 5 senses, no matter how much you control, that Mithyatva will have impact on all the senses control and like that. Kaya, all 6 types of bodies. Yoga, now all 15. The 2 out of 15, 13 yoga. Then patience, all the 25. 16 plus 9. Pratyakhana, pratyaka like that. 16 plus 9, 25. Beyond
I think sir got detached, right, Amisha? Sir
Yes,
is-
ma'am. Yeah, he's
Okay,
back.
okay, sir is good.
So then in terms of Lesha also, no matter you have a Shukla Lesha, okay, but if the Mithya Darshan is there, the wrong belief is there, you may say that my bhavas are good, okay, I had a Shukla Lesha or whatever type, or of course lower part, lower levels of Lesha. But then it does not help if the Mithyatva is not gone. It will not lead to the desirable results in spite of having the best of Shukla Lesha. Then same thing, whether you bhavya or abhavya, it applies to everybody. It applies to whether you are Sangi or Asangi. And then, of course, Aharaka, whether karmic bondage is not there, sometimes they are not there, irrespective of those things. We're trying to explain in terms of 14 marganas. So all kinds of things, it is still there. So the conclusion is that this Mithyatva is the greatest sin. It is greater than any other sin. And its nuances in terms of 363 here, and many more are to be avoided. And actually, one should see that each of that thing we one by one counting, and we should see that we don't have that kind of a things. Of course, one, I think one slide somewhere it missed, where we're talking about pure soul.
So we missed Ajnanavada also, 67 variants.
One is missed. Yes. Maybe. Maybe. Kriyavad. This is ignorance, right? Yes, pure substance. This slide, very good. I realize that one is missing, of course. Maybe something that the internet coming and going is create a problem. But this is very important. And what it says is that somebody may say that where the pure soul has come into it. So that's why I realized later on that this pure soul thing is missing here. So what I wanted to say before I even explain this, that if we have some understanding of pure soul, then all these types will go away. Pure soul as defined in Jain philosophy, as stated in Samasara, or as stated in Siddha Bhagavan, 8 qualities of Siddha Bhagavan and like that, or any soul without 8 karmas. If we understand that, then we understood the concept of pure soul. So if one understands the concept of pure soul, then all 363, or no matter how many others are possible, that all will go away. Because he will have a respect for that, all the 4 things will take place that. This is very important, okay, Agyanvad. So if you have the knowledge of the soul, it's categorized as like this, okay. The first, of course, not knowing 9 tattvas, padartha from each bhanga, okay. Saptabhangi and like that. If you don't know 9 tattvas through Saptabhangi, that's a part of ignorance, and hence should be equal. 63 will come out. Then pure substance, pure soul, rather here. Pure soul we should understand, okay. And pure soul, if we understand from this Saptabhangi angle, okay, particularly not Sapt, even 4, because other 2 are combinations of that. So Asti Nasti, Asti Nasti, and Avyaktam. If we understand pure soul from these 4 angles, then 1 into 4 and then 63 earlier, so it becomes 67. So the essence of that, that's what I wanted to conclude with that. That if we understand the concept of pure soul, or understand Samasar very well, or from anywhere, even from karma concept also, without karma, how the soul looks like, if one have an idea of that, then this Gyanvad will go away. And of course, Mithyatva and Agyanvad are similar, because Mithyatva means you don't have a knowledge which is necessary to eliminate false belief. And hence, the one key to eliminate false feeling or false faith is to know about the pure substance, that is pure soul. Because other substance is okay, we do understand. But understanding the soul is very crucial as far as knowledge is concerned. And once we understand the pure substance like soul, and similarly even Parmanus also, atoms, by very nature one atom is pure, but when comes into a combination of atoms and skand and like that, then it becomes other things, and becomes a karmic bondage and so on. So this becomes very crucial slide, and if we understand this thing, then we have understood the real concept of Mithyatva. So here, in other words, to conclude, Mithyatva is broken into 363 or many other parts, so that each of the type we try to eliminate ourselves and understand the pure soul, and achieve Samyak Darshan and move towards the path of moksha. So that's what all I would like to say. If you have some comments or any such things, you can also contribute.
So there are few more slides, sir, after Jai Jinendra, or that they are separate, sir?
But that, no, I prepared it, but then I summarized it because time may not be enough. Those slides were in terms of this Purishvadan, how to summarize those things, other things. Then this from Vrad Dravisangar also, it talks like that Anekantvad Buddhist belief and like that.
Okay.
And I thought, let us not go into that, so I didn't do that. And then one that this 4 types, no? Transmigration, 5 types of transmigration. That I had to prepare a slide for each of that. Dravya transmigration, then Kshetra transmigration.
Okay, Panch Paravart.
Panch Paravat, because it comes like that in terms of concept. But then I
Okay.
thought we can avoid that until
Yeah, it's only detailing of those things that
detailing
you
of
have
the
told.
same thing. So that's what I didn't took it in the main things.
Okay, okay.
But in some mood, I prepared those thinking that someday it will be useful. Like that.
So anybody has any questions? 363 divisions, can you recall? Can you tell the permutation combination? Is it clear? If not, please ask your doubts.
We can take 363 here. Yeah. Next slide. Right. This is the broad 363. Kriyavadi 180 and then now Kriyavadi 84. Then Agyanvadi ignorance 67 and Vainik 32.
Sir, I just have one question, sir. जैनिज्म क्रियावादी भी नहीं है, अक्रियावादी भी नहीं है,
नहीं,
मतलब एकांतिक नहीं रहना चाहिए.
बस वही है ना.
हाँ, एकांतिक नहीं.
एकांतिक नहीं होना. That's what.
हाँ, अपेक्षा लगा करके क्रियावाद अक्रियावाद
हाँ,
दोनों की बात कर सकते हैं.
राइट.
यही बात है ना सर?
नहीं, सभी हैं. हम क्रियावादी भी हैं, अक्रियावादी भी, इन सेंस कि सब कुछ जो होता है वो स्वभाव से होता है. और अज्ञानवादी भी, इग्नोरेंस तो we have to remember.
अज्ञानवादी कैसे हो सकते हैं सर?
नहीं, अज्ञान तो जब तक केवल ज्ञान नहीं होगा तब तक अज्ञान ही है ना.
हाँ.
तो इसलिए we have to believe that of course we don't have the full knowledge.
हाँ, मतलब जितना भी क्षयोक्षम ज्ञान है उससे एक
हाँ,
मोक्ष
right.
हो जाएगा, ऐसा समझे तो भी अपन अज्ञानवादी है.
हाँ, राइट.
ओके सर, ओके. थैंक यू सर.
Yeah,
I
Gyan,
think somebody wants to.
there are some people who say no, that Gyan is not necessary, only Charitra is important.
Oh.
So they act like Agyanvadi.
नो बट जैनिज्म अपन अज्ञानवादी को सपोर्ट करते हैं, ऐसा नहीं होता है ना सर?
नहीं, हम सपोर्ट किसी को नहीं करते. We have positive point for each of these things. And that too relatively. अपेक्षा से.
So how will you support अज्ञानवाद सर? अपेक्षा से?
नहीं, अज्ञानवाद मतलब we'll say certain things we don't know about the universe, about the soul, about the liberation and like that. So that remains like that. So we have to take that as a part of it. Okay. But whatever we know, we have to make it as a part of our strength. So we are not Agyanvadi, but we have Agyan. That's what I want to say.
हाँ, वो तो है सर, वो तो.
Right. So, even while explaining, we have only explained 363. Within that also there can be minute differences and like that.
Yeah.
So these things are there in our life, but we don't have to take as exclusive things. That becomes a blind belief.
Okay, sir. Yes, anybody has questions, please ask. Otherwise, it's 8:15, sir. We'll wind up any moment.
सर उसमें
बोलो सूरज.
जय जयेंद्र मैडम. सर
हाँ.
वैनिक जो रिस्पेक्ट ओरिएंटेशन वाला जो है वो क्यों दिया गया है? क्योंकि वो एक प्रकार वो अलग क्यों किया गया?
वो इसीलिए किया गया, राइट, बहुत अच्छा प्रश्न है। वो इसलिए किया गया है कि हम किसी को भी भगवान मानकर पूजा करने लग जाएंगे तो गड़बड़ हो गया ना। जो साधु नहीं उसको भी नमस्कार कर रहे हैं, जो साधु उसको भी नमस्कार कर रहे हैं, तो वेर इज द डिस्क्रिप्शन। गुरु है उसको भी नमस्कार करें, कोई भी गुरु को नमस्कार कर दिया तो इट
Yes.
बिकम्स ए ब्लाइंड टाइप ऑफ थिंग, ना, विदाउट नोइंग द मेरिट्स एंड डीमेरिट्स ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल्स इन्वॉल्व। इफ यू जस्ट रेस्पेक्ट देम, इट्स नो यूज।
तो ये सर अज्ञानवादी में आ सकता नहीं था कि ये अज्ञान है कि किसका विनय करना है, मतलब।
हाँ, डाल सकते हैं, वो डालने में कहते हैं, तो इंटरचेंजेबल है इन ए वे।
ओके ओके सर,
तो
यस।
वो डाल सकते हैं, उधर भी डाल सकते हैं, लोग अज्ञान से ही तो वैनिक है।
नहीं, जैसे लोग समझते हैं ना कि सिर्फ भगवान के पास भक्ति करने से, गुरु का विनय करने से, सरेंडर करने से मोक्ष
हाँ,
हो जाए,
सरेंडर करने से काम हो जाएगा तो
है ना,
इट विल।
उसको विनयवादी बोलेंगे।
चला, हाँ, चला।
इवन जैन लोग विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑल दीज डिटेल्स, आप खाली जिनेश्वर भगवान की भी भक्ति करो, उनका विनय करो, तो दर्शन विशुद्धि के बिना दैट विनय also will not lead to the desired result, no?
यस मैडम।
हम उसको लाइटर वे में ऐसा बोलते हैं, 1 रुपए की कमाई, मतलब कि उससे जीवन नहीं चलेगा। छोटा मोटा पुण्य का कहीं बंद होगा, बट दैट्स नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट, नॉट मटेरियली इम्पोर्टेंट।
ओके, अंडरस्टूड। तो अभी उसमें मैं ऐसा हमें मतलब उसको अवॉइड करना चाहिए या उसको विरोध करना चाहिए? कई बार हमारे जीवन में ऐसा
कुछ
आता है।
भी नहीं, हमें समझना है बस।
ओके।
हमारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग शुड बी राइट। विरोध करेंगे तो कषाय बढ़ेगी। हमें कुछ नहीं करना, हमें वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड करेक्टली कि कहाँ रेस्पेक्ट करना है और कहाँ इसको इग्नोर करना है।
ओके सर, थैंक यू
लड़ने
सर।
झगड़ने से कोई मतलब नहीं है। दुनिया में तरह तरह के लोग हैं, इनफाइनाइट अनंत जीव हैं। और मनुष्य में भी देखो तो जो भी काफी मनुष्य हैं, सबका अपना अपना बिलीफ है। हम कहाँ किसी से ले सकते हैं? हमें तो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द राइट थिंग्स एंड अपना काम करना है।
यस सर, अंडरस्टूड, थैंक यू सर।
Yes, anybody has any other question? Are things clear to everybody?
सर एक
Hello.
दूसरा सवाल ये है कि ये 363 का नंबर ही क्यों दिया गया? मतलब पहले दिया था फिर बाद में आया, मतलब 363 का ही नंबर क्यों आया, मतलब?
ये जो ये क्लासिफिक मन बता नहीं, इसलिए 12वें अंग की जो दृष्टिवाद है उसके जो सूत्र हैं उसके अनुसार ये 363 इस तरह से काउंटिंग बताइए।
मतलब उस समय पे भी ऐसे ही लोग 363 प्रकार के लोगों को।
अनादिकाल से लोग ऐसा ही सोचते हैं,
हाँ।
अनादिकाल से।
ओके।
मतलब आप इसको, इट्स ए वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन। इसमें ऐसा है, ऐसा समझ लीजिए कि केवल ज्ञान में जितने प्रकार के अनंत काल तक जीव कैसे गलत सोच करके मिथ्यात्व को नहीं छोड़ पाते हैं,
ओके। या।
वो सारा केवली भगवान ने बताया। इस ढंग से सोचिए, आपको बहुत महिमा आएगी।
अच्छा, यस। इसकी वजह से ये केवल ज्ञान के पे चढ़ नहीं सकते,
हाँ,
राइट?
इसीलिए मैंने पहले यहाँ लिखा, प्रीचिंग ऑफ अरहंत या महावीर भगवान लेटेस्ट, और फिर वो दृष्टिवाद का अंग है। सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ओके। और वो इम्पोर्टेंट है कि अनादिकाल से जो जीव हैं,
यस सर।
आवाज रुक गई ना वापस?
यस मैडम, यस।
Okay, okay. I think network disturbance.
यस।
Okay, we can discuss in the meantime. Anybody has any questions till sir joins, or if things are clear?
Okay.
Sir is joined, yeah.
So that's how we have to understand it. भगवान की बात है ऐसा जान करके we to try to avoid all kinds of misbelief. It is not a preaching, it is like a checklist actually. ये जो लेक्चर दिया वो कोई preaching करने के लिए दिया, nothing of that sort. It is only a checklist कि these type of things if we have at all.
इतने लोग हैं तो चेकलिस्ट से बाहर निकालो, मतलब ऐसे ऐसे.
Sir, can I ask one question, sir? Hello.
मैडम
मैम
इंटरनेट
वो सर का नेटवर्क कैसे
हाँ, network नहीं आ रहा. Okay, can somebody tell? Rishabdev Bhagwan took Diksha with 4,000 people, no? So at that time itself, the 363. Sir, मेरा question है, sir.
हाँ जी.
हाँ, ऋषभदेव भगवान राजा ऋषभ के साथ 4,000 लोगों ने दीक्षा ली थी.
Right.
और वो मुनि ऋषभ मौन, मतलब भगवान ऋषभ मौन में थे. तो वो 4,000 पीपल अपने अपने मत की स्थापना कर चुके थे, तब भी 363 हो गए, या फिर केवली भगवान हुए उसके बाद 363 मत स्टार्ट हुए, सर?
नहीं, वो पहले, ये तो इटर्नल बिलीफ है ना.
अच्छा, हमेशा से रहे हैं.
हमेशा से ऐसा ही रहता है.
अच्छा.
इटर्नल है, इसलिए वो शब्द का 2-3 बार प्रयोग किया. और हम वो
अच्छा.
दूसरी फिलोसॉफी से कनेक्शन किया कहीं शास्त्रों में, तो हमने उसको हमारी बुद्धि से उसको नहीं किया, क्योंकि ये तो इटर्नल बिलीफ है.
अच्छा.
कोई एक पर्टिकुलर मीमांसक और सांख्य मत या ये कोई आए उसके बाद ऐसा हुआ, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं. अनादिकाल से ऐसा ही है. नहीं तो मिथ्या तो अनादिकाल से है ना जीव का.
हाँ, लेकिन ये 363 की स्थापना
वो
कभी
मिथ्यात्व
हुई
के
होगी?
वो मिथ्यात्व के कारण है ना.
हाँ हाँ.
तो मिथ्यात्व के कारण भी हमेशा ही रहेंगे ना.
ओके सर, नहीं तो मेरे को ये डाउट था कि ऋषभदेव भगवान के टाइम से ही थे, या उनके केवल ज्ञान होने के बाद ये स्थापना किए, या बस ऐसे से ही चल रहा है. अच्छा, किसी का और कोई डाउट है क्या?
इसकी मम्मी का नाम क्या है?
Okay, we'll end the class then. We'll end the meeting. We'll end the meeting. We'll.
यस मैडम, थैंक यू मैडम.
हाँ हाँ, थैंक यू एवरीबॉडी. सर को भी थैंक यू, लेकिन सर आ जाए तो एक बार बोल के. आ गई जय जिनेंद्र बोलने वाले. बोलो जय जिनेंद्र.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jai Jinesh, ma'am.
But
Thank you
नीचे
for this nice lecture.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Sir, we'll end the class, sir.
ओके.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. So you will definitely have a question related to the lecture today. All the second years, please note. You will definitely have to answer the question on 363 divisions. It will be a compulsory question. That way you will get to learn it. Okay.
Yes.
Chalo. Sir, I would like to
Thank
thank you, sir, on behalf of the department and all the students, sir. And we look forward to more lectures, sir.
थैंक यू.
Thank you, Reshma, Aarti, and all those who have joined. Shobha Madam, Bharat, sir.
Thank
All
you,
the
ma'am.
second years. Nirmala
Thank you,
ji.
ma'am.
Yes.
How is your baby?
Padma
How is
Priya,
the treat?
Arugadas, Renu, Jayashri. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you,
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wish you all a very happy Bhagwan Mahavir Nirvan Kalyanak Day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
चलिए, इधर आने की जय बोलो सब।
चलिए क्लोज करते हैं,
जय
ठीक।
का काम, जय का काम करेंगे सर, सब लोग
हाँ, राइट राइट,
मिथ्यात्व को जीतने का काम करेंगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल होना ही चाहिए।
थैंक यू सर।
जय जैन।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shobha. Amisha, you can close the meeting, Amisha,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
or you can stay for a minute, or you all can stay for a minute, or we'll meet again on Thursday otherwise. Shall we end the meeting, Amisha? Otherwise, other people are also there in the class. I won't be taking the class now.
Okay,
Only
ma'am.
next week we'll meet. Thursday we'll meet.